Are you ready for this? Because what Caitlin Clark just did against Italy may have ended the debate once and for all. Team USA didn't start this game the way fans expected. The energy was low, the offense looked slow, and by the end of the first quarter, the score was still neck and neck. Nothing was really clicking. But the moment Clark stepped onto the floor, everything shifted. Suddenly, the pace exploded. Deep threes from way beyond the arc. Fast break plays that caught Italy completely off guard. Perfect passes that created easy buckets. In what felt like an instant, the entire rhythm of the game changed. And the most unbelievable part, Clark did all of this in just 22 minutes coming off the bench. When the final buzzer sounded, Team USA had turned a tight matchup into a massive 34-point victory. It was the kind of performance that makes people stop arguing and start accepting reality. But that wasn't the only surprise from this game. Right in the middle of everything, Team USA made a coaching adjustment that no one expected. It completely shifted the strategy on the floor, and Clark took full advantage of it. Now, when you look at the numbers from this matchup, they tell a very clear story. They don't just suggest that Clark might be the most important player on Team USA. The stats strongly point to her being the best player in the entire tournament, and honestly, it's getting harder and harder for anyone to argue otherwise. So let's break down exactly what happened in that game against Italy, because the details behind this performance are even crazier than the final score. But before we get into it, drop a comment below and tell me what you think. Is Caitlin Clark already the best player on Team USA? Because if you look at the numbers, the case is getting stronger every single game.
Caitlin Clark.
Team USA stepped onto the court with what many consider one of the most talented rosters ever assembled in women's basketball. On paper, this group should overwhelm almost any opponent, but against Italy, the start of the game told a very different story. For most of the first half, the score remained locked. Not a small deficit, not a back and forth shootout, just completely tied. And the bigger issue was how stagnant the offense looked. The ball movement was painfully slow. Their half-court offense struggled to generate anything meaningful. Possessions dragged on without creating open shots, and the overall rhythm simply wasn't there. Meanwhile, Italy kept hanging around. That's the surprising part. A matchup like this should normally tilt heavily in Team USA's favor, yet Italy stayed right within reach. And it's not like this roster is missing star power. Paige Buchers was on the floor. Chelsea Gray was running the offense. Kelsey Plum was there as well. These are elite players with proven resumes, but in that moment, the entire system looked stuck. No one was pushing the tempo. The offense felt predictable. Every pass seemed to signal exactly where the play was going, making it easy for Italy's defense to anticipate the next move. So instead of pulling away early like many expected, Team USA found itself locked in a surprisingly tight game with an Italian squad that realistically they should have been controlling from the start.
Everywhere in the world.
And Caitlin Clark immediately making an impact for Team USA. Her first foul of the game. It'll be Italy ball on the sideline.
Then Caitlin Clark comes off the bench, and the entire dynamic of the game flips almost instantly. Her first impact is obvious. She speeds everything up. Instead of slowing down and waiting for the offense to organize in the half court, she's already attacking before the defense has time to settle. Clark is reading the floor in real time, making decisions before Italy can even set up their defensive structure. As they scramble to get back and find their assignments, she's already a step ahead. Suddenly the tempo picks up. The ball starts zipping around the court. The decisions are quicker, the passing is sharper, and the offense finally finds its rhythm. Within moments, Team USA looks like a completely different team from the one that struggled earlier.
Clark off the re-screen. Sidestep, deep three! And there's Caitlin Clark for her first triple of the game.
And then it happens. The first logo three. Caitlin Clark rises up from way beyond the three-point line, practically from the logo itself. It's the type of shot most players wouldn't even think about attempting. But for her, it's just another moment. She lets it fly, and it drops straight through the net. Right away, everything changes for Italy's defense. Now they're forced to guard her much farther from the basket, stretching their coverage well beyond the arc. The second that happens, the floor opens up. Driving lanes suddenly appear. The pick and roll game starts creating easy opportunities. Clark begins threading passes to teammates cutting toward the rim. Players who looked frozen just minutes earlier are now receiving the ball exactly where they want it, on time, in rhythm, and with plenty of space to operate. Just like that, the entire offense comes alive.
By Santucci, especially against KP.
Italy is showing a zone now. 9 seconds to shoot. Inside to Billings. Billings, the reverse off the glass is good.
And it wasn't something that only happened early in the game. Throughout the matchup, Team USA went through a few stretches where the offense cooled off again. The scoring slowed down, the tempo dropped, and things started to feel stuck just like before. But every time that happened, Caitlin Clark stepped in and flipped the momentum back the other way. It wasn't always one huge highlight play either. Instead, it came through a series of smart decisions. She'd grab the ball and immediately push the pace in transition. On the next possession, she might slip a perfectly timed pass to a teammate cutting toward the basket. Then moments later, she'd create space and knock down another deep jumper. Each sequence forced Italy to rethink how they were defending. Just when their defense started settling in, Clark would do something that completely disrupted the plan again. Because of that, the game never stayed slow or stagnant for long whenever she was on the court. The energy always found its way back.
Caitlin Clark doing her best Chelsea Gray impression. What a finish. Showing the handles.
By the time the game reached its final moments, the scoreboard told the whole story, 93-59. What started as a competitive matchup turned into a 34-point rout. After that turning point in the first quarter, Italy never truly recovered. The momentum had completely shifted, and from that moment forward, Team USA stayed in control. The biggest reason for that shift was Caitlin Clark. Coming off the bench, she wrapped up the game with 12 points and 5 assists in just 22 minutes. On paper, those numbers look solid, but if you only focus on the stat sheet, you miss the bigger picture. Because Clark's real impact wasn't just in the points or assists, it was in how she completely changed the rhythm of the game. The pace, the spacing, the confidence of the entire offense. All of it looked different once she stepped onto the floor.
And I really like the lineup that played. Caitlin was the first sub off the bench. She hasn't started yet, but immediately came in off the bench and scored. As soon as she checked in, she got a bucket, like within seconds. She was the 6th woman in this one. She's one of the players who hasn't started yet, but who cares? But comes in, you see Jackie handling, and Caitlin gets the ball, calls for it, passes it off, gets it back.
The assist total only reflects the passes that directly turned into points, but basketball influence goes far beyond what the stat sheet records. It doesn't capture the moments when a player drives into the lane, pulls 2 defenders toward them, and then swings the ball out to a teammate for a clean look. It doesn't track the pick and roll decisions that shift the defense just enough to create an open shot on the very next possession. Those subtle plays rarely show up in the numbers, and that's exactly why Caitlin Clark's true impact in this game went far beyond the box score. The statistics tell part of the story, but they don't fully explain how much she changed the flow of the game. Anyone watching it unfold could clearly see and feel that difference.
Who just subbed in, as well as Angel Reese for Team USA, getting action on the floor now. Xander Lassini pops up, no good.
The instant Caitlin Clark stepped onto the court, something noticeable changed. Team USA stopped looking like a collection of talented stars playing separately and started moving like a unit with a clear direction. The shift was immediate, and anyone watching could see it happen in real time. And this is where things get really interesting. One specific stat from the Italy game pretty much ends the debate about Clark's importance to this roster. While Clark was on the floor, Team USA outscored Italy by 27 points. That's a plus 27 plus minus in just 22 minutes coming off the bench. But when she wasn't playing, that advantage dropped to plus 16. Think about that for a second. Even with elite players like Paige Buckers, Kalia Copper, and Kelsey Plum on the court, the team was 11 points less dominant the moment Clark wasn't part of the lineup. That difference says a lot about the kind of impact she had on the game.
It up against Brea Fico. Clark off the Reese screen. Sidestep, deep 3! in there.
Take a moment to really think about that number. Plus minus isn't simply about how many points a player scores personally. It reflects how the entire team performs while that player is on the court. Every defensive stop, every made basket, every single possession, and in this case, the gap between Caitlin Clark being on the floor versus sitting on the bench was 11 points. During the broadcast, one analyst watching the game summed it up perfectly. Team USA was plus 27 while Clark was playing. In other words, the team looked dramatically stronger with her in the lineup. That's not some exaggerated opinion or controversial take. It's simply what the numbers from the game clearly show.
Clark to set something up off the Hamby screen. Dishes it into Hamby. Hamby makes that one look easy. What a give and go between those.
And this story doesn't start and end with the Italy matchup. When you step back and look at all three games in this tournament, the pattern becomes even more obvious. Caitlin Clark currently leads Team USA in assists. She's also tied with Paige Buchers for the team lead in scoring. On top of that, she's the player getting to the free throw line the most. But the stat that really stands out is her plus minus, which is the highest on the entire roster, not second. First. That means when Clark is on the floor, Team USA creates a bigger advantage than when any other player on that team is playing. That's simply what the numbers show through the first three games. And it goes even further than that. If you expand the view beyond Team USA and look across the entire FIBA 2026 qualifying tournament, the same trend continues. Among every country, every roster, and every player participating, Clark leads the entire tournament in plus minus. Think about that for a moment. Out of every athlete in the field, starters, veterans, and international standouts, the player making the biggest statistical impact is the one coming off the bench. The same player whose role and minutes have been constantly debated is, according to the numbers, the most impactful player in the entire tournament so far. And then there's the assist milestone. Through just 3 games, Caitlin Clark has racked up 19 assists, enough to shatter the record for the most assists ever in a single FIBA qualifying tournament. That record now officially belongs to her. And she's not done yet. She still has 2 games left to add to a stat line that's already cemented her place in the history books. At this point, Clark is leading Team USA in assists. Tied for the team lead in points, tops in free throws, plus minus, and not just for the team, but across the entire tournament. Oh, and let's not forget, she set the all-time assist record for a FIBA qualifying tournament. And all of this, she's doing it coming off the bench. That's dominance on another level. This isn't just a fan opinion, it's not a talking point pushed by the media. The numbers from this tournament, the stats that actually matter when it comes to winning, keep pointing to the same player over and over again. And that player has started every game on the bench, which makes what unfolded between the Puerto Rico and Italy matchups impossible to ignore. Someone was making decisions about how she would be used, and those choices don't really hold up anymore. Now let's dive into the coaching situation, because there was a major shift between those 2 games, and it wasn't subtle. Against Italy, Nate Tibbetts, the head coach of the Phoenix Mercury, was running the bench. Kara Lawson did not hold that role this
Nate Tibbetts is a better coach than Kara Lawson. Kara Lawson wasn't present, which I thought was odd.
time, and naturally, everyone watching the game wants to know why the change happened. Let's rewind to Clark's record-breaking performance against Segal. She dished out 12 assists, the most ever by a bench player in FIBA history. After the game, Kara Lawson took the mic and said something along the lines of, "Everyone needs to shine, not just Caitlin." That comment didn't sit well. Fans were immediately outraged, and the media ran with it.
Puerto Rico played very, very hard, and they played hard the entire time. They challenged us with their effort. And I thought they made a lot of hustle plays to create baskets for themselves. And, this was more of an uneven game for us on both ends. We talked about it as a team, and I thought we had some good spots, but I also thought we had some rough spots, and that's good. It's good to have rough spots sometimes. You're able to kind of figure some things out, and we're still
He was arguing that other players shouldn't get their moments. The stats, however, clearly showed that Clark was the driving force behind the offense, and Lawson's remark came across as if she was downplaying Clark's impact on purpose, which only fueled the frustration. Then came the Puerto Rico game. They brought out a box-and-one defense, a scheme specifically designed to neutralize a single player, and that player was Caitlin Clark. Instead of adapting and finding ways to leverage Clark's playmaking against that defense, Kara Lawson kept her on the perimeter and ran the offense through other players. Clark later described the game as clunky. The pace slowed to a crawl, the spacing broke down, and everything felt awkward on the floor. Team USA still managed to win, but watching them move against that defense felt like they were trying to...
We probably didn't play our best. I thought Paige played really well, but it felt good. I mean, I obviously probably didn't shoot it as well as I would have liked. I think their zone kind of threw us off. I thought it kind of slowed down our pace a little bit. We didn't get as much in transition, so I think if like another team plays zone, just continue to play with a lot of pace and don't let them set these out.
The media reaction was even louder this time. Questions were being asked openly. Was Lawson deliberately limiting Clark, or did she simply fail to recognize what everyone else could see in real time? Either explanation didn't look good. Then came Nate Tibbetts for the Italy game, and everything changed. The rotations were completely different. Clark was immediately placed in the point guard role as soon as she checked in during the first quarter. This time, the lineup was built around her playmaking, not around other players trying to work without her. Tibbetts let Clark push the pace, make decisions, and dictate the offense. And suddenly, the unit that looked clunky against Puerto Rico was flowing seamlessly again. After the game, Tibbetts explained that he deliberately mixed matchups and allowed players to run longer stretches than in previous games. His goal was to build chemistry and creativity in the rotations, and the results were undeniable.
You see from the lineup with Kelsey Plum, Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Ryan Howard, and Angel Reese, and how did that group impact the flow of the game?
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job. You know, this is a group that hasn't been together very long. We've kind of mixed the matchups, mixed the rotations. We played our players a little bit longer stretches than what we had done in the first two games. And so I thought initially they got off to a good start. I probably played them a little bit too long of a stretch at you know, some of them got a little bit tired, but yeah, I love the creativity. I love the shooting with that group.
Whether Lawson was officially replaced, stepped back voluntarily, or this was part of the plan all along, the timing is impossible to ignore. The backlash after Puerto Rico was real. Her rotation strategy simply didn't work. Oh, and now, under a different coach, Team USA comes out and wins by 34 points. Tibbetts' approach against Italy felt like someone had carefully studied the Puerto Rico game tape and reached an obvious conclusion. Get Clark the ball. Let her run the offense. Trust her reads. Stop working around her. Start building the team around her. When you compare the two games, Puerto Rico under Lawson's rotations versus Italy under Tibbetts, you see exactly which approach produces results. The numbers, the performance, and the flow of the game all make it crystal clear.
This is that Caitlin Clark was used a lot in this game, and I'm glad she was. She did pretty well. I'm surprised she wasn't player of the game. I thought she should have been player of the game, but they gave it to Chelsea Gray. Whatever. I don't know who makes these decisions.
Meanwhile, while all the coaching drama was unfolding, something else was happening on the court that deserves close attention. Caitlin Clark and Paige Buchers are starting to truly sync up. When these two are reading the game at the same pace, and the offense becomes nearly impossible to defend. Clark pushes the ball up the court, and Buchers instantly recognizes where the defense is overcommitting. The pass arrives before anyone can react. Pick and roll decisions, off-ball cuts, kickouts to open shooters. It all flows seamlessly. It's starting to look like a pair of players who have been running the same system for years. Not two stars still figuring out each other's tendencies in only their third game together. Tibbetts didn't hold back. He went all in, putting together a three-guard lineup featuring Clark, Buchers, and Kelsey Plum on the floor at the same time. That trio completely flummoxed Italy. Three players who can all push the pace, make split-second decisions, and create opportunities for one another left the defense constantly off balance. Italy kept scrambling, trying to identify the biggest threat, but by the time they made a decision, the ball had already moved somewhere else, and the offense was one step ahead. Now let's compare that to Angel Reese's role against Italy. Under Tibbetts, Ree played her fewest minutes of the entire tournament. Her shot wasn't connecting, and the ball handling duties she had carried in the Puerto Rico game completely disappeared. In that Puerto Rico matchup, Reese had been used as a primary ball handler, while Clark was kept on the perimeter. Essentially, the strategy was neutralize Clark, then run the offense through Reese. The results were predictable. Hesitation, misreads, and a half-court offense that couldn't adjust to anything Puerto Rico threw at them. Clark described it as clunky, and that's putting it mildly.
Angel Reese is playing the point guard. She's not looking Caitlin Clark's way one time, deliberately not passing her the ball. And
against Italy, that experiment was over.
The Clark-Reese combo isn't completely useless on paper. Clark facilitating for Reese's screens and finishes at the rim can still be effective in the right matchup. But Italy made it clear, when Tibbetts has a real choice, he leans guard heavy and up tempo, and that system flows through Clark and Buchers, not anyone else. Even better, these two still have 2 more games to build on what they started against Italy. Their reads are already becoming sharper and their timing tighter. Clark is finding Buchers in spots where the defense has no good options. Help on Clark and Buchers is open. Stick with Buchers and Clark pulls up from the logo for 3. That 3-guard lineup with Clark orchestrating isn't just fun to watch. It's a blueprint for an offense firing on all cylinders. And here's the kicker. Everything Clark is doing in this tournament doesn't stay in FIBA. It all comes back to Indiana with her, shaping what her team can be in the seasons ahead. Take a moment to really consider what Caitlin Clark has accomplished over just 3 games. She shattered the all-time record for assists in a single FIBA qualifying tournament. She leads every player from every country in plus-minus. On Team USA, she's first in assists, tied for the team lead in points, and the squad is clearly more effective with her on the court than anyone else. And she's done all of this coming off the bench every single game. This wasn't a sudden flash either. In her debut against Segal, Clark put up 17 points and 12 assists in just 19 minutes. She broke 5 FIBA world records in 1 game, including the most assists in a senior national team debut for any country, men or women, and the most assists ever by a bench player in FIBA history. This isn't a hot streak. This is a player performing at a level the sport rarely sees, especially in this kind of international competition.
Made was something that Puerto Rico was doing, or were some of them also a little self-inflicted?
I think it was mostly self-inflicted. I thought we missed some feedback coverages, and then I think especially with how much we fouled too, like it really limits us, especially in transition, really fast. And, it's hard to push, especially off of the fade free throw when we're sitting on the press.
It was obviously a big win by a large margin for Team USA, but what can you say about what you saw about Team Puerto Rico tonight?
Yeah, I thought they played with a lot of fire. I thought they were aggressive. I thought the crowd was incredible. The fans were great.
So what does all of this mean for Indiana in 2026? The answer, a lot. The fast-paced, guard-heavy, read and react system that dismantled Italy by 34 points? Clark can bring that to the WNBA. She's already been running pieces of it with the Fever, but now she has real international experience backing it up. Over this tournament, she's made split-second decisions against defenses she's never seen before, found teammates she's still building chemistry with, and broke defensive schemes in real time. That kind of sharpening doesn't just vanish, it carries over. The Fever already have players who fit naturally around the way Clark plays. At a full off season with this level of international reps on top of what she accomplished in her first 2 WNBA seasons, and you're looking at a transformed player walking into training camp. Her reads will be quicker, her decisions cleaner, and the confidence that comes from setting all-time records in front of the world. That doesn't fade the moment the tournament ends.
I think we could have moved a little bit better. I don't know how many assists we had, but I thought we could have probably passed the ball a little bit better. I think about these games, the paint was really long, and we want to get easy finishes at the rim, but I think also getting paint and be ready to kick it out.
And would you say that it was due to Puerto Rico's defense or just offense not
falling? Puerto Rico did a great job, but also I think we can be better offensively.
Different lineups, different rotations, test out those that chemistry. Just how did you feel tonight, yesterday, with all those different rotations?
I think it's going to be a work in progress with everybody trying to kind of find the flow a little bit, especially when we're going 5 in, 5 out. But, you got to be flexible. That's kind of what USA basketball is all about. Some games you're going to play less, some games you're going to play as much. You might come off the bench, you might start. So you got to be ready when your number's called. I think everybody's done a good job of that. And, we don't even know the starting lineup until we're in the locker room before the game. So you just get ready and go out.
The debate over Caitlin Clark's role on this team, in this tournament, and frankly in the sport right now, is officially over. The numbers speak for themselves. She's the plus-minus leader across the entire tournament. She holds the all-time assists record. Team USA performs better with her on the court than anyone else. There's nothing left to argue about. What's even more thrilling, she still has 2 games left in this tournament. That means we're about to see how far this Team USA blueprint can go when it's firing on all cylinders. Keep your eyes on the floor because this is only getting more impressive. Drop a comment below if you agree that Clark is Team USA's best player. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Click the video on the screen next, and we'll catch you in the next breakdown.